Welcome, Bridgewater College Teacher Education Program students. In this screencast, we're going to learn how to create an online bookmarking site. A site that you and or your students can get to, whether they are in your classroom, whether you are in a computer lab, at home, wherever. Bookmarks are sites that you would frequently use in teaching school. To do so, we're going to use what I call an oldie but goodie. Portaportal.com. Let's start by going to Portaportal. So I'm just going to type www.portaportal, Portaportal.com, and here's the site. Now, Portaportal has been around for a long time, but that's, in my mind, that's a good thing because it's not a site that is going to disappear. It's been around for years. It's a free site. It's a site that many schools have used for a long time, and we're going to create our own Portaportal site. Well, the first thing we need to do is to sign up for an account today. So let's do that. Let's click on sign up for a free account. When you do, it'll ask for your name, so I'm going to put in my name. It's going to ask for a login name. Now, this login name will actually be what we enter as a guest later on, so we don't want to make it too long for small hands to type. In my case, though, I'm going to call it Bridgewater Hill. Now, that's a little long for an elementary school class, but at least I don't think that one's been taken before. And I'm going to have to enter a password. Students do not need to know this password. This will strictly be for you so that you can edit your page. And I'll confirm it. It'll ask for an email address. And it'll ask me to confirm that, of course. And I'll join Portaportal. And it says that I'm ready to begin. A notification email will be sent to you at the email address provided. You must click on the confirmation link inside this email. And we need to do that, of course, to confirm that this is a valid account. But it does say now we're ready to begin. So let's click here to begin. Now, I don't want to forget to verify on my email the Portaportal account. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and click here to begin. It reminds me that I do need to confirm it, and I'll do that after I'm finished with this screencast. You must create some categories to begin. So let's create some categories. Now I'm going to create my Portaportal for a math teacher, a general math teacher that could be an elementary, could be a middle or high school teacher. So I'm going to start with only two categories. I'm going to have one called General Resources, and I'm going to have another one called Calculators. And you'll see why in a minute. I'm using calculators as a category. And I'll stop and add these two categories. You can go back and add more categories later, but let's start with these two. So, I have two categories, General Resources and Calculators. In order to add bookmarks, you might notice that there's icons here. There's a plus icon to add a folder. There's a pencil to edit, and there's a plus sign to add links, which actually it's the plus sign that I want to use. I want to add some general resources. Maybe I should have mentioned too that one of the first things that you probably want to do is to go ahead and open up the sites that you plan to add to Portaportal. Turns out I've got 8 different sites already open in tabs up here that I'm going to add to my Portaportal. So let's click plus under General Resources. It asks me for a title. Well, one of the first sites that I'm going to add here is Rockingham County Schools Math Curriculum. I have a link to the Rockingham County Schools Math Curriculum, and I want to put it here as a URL. That actual math curriculum is right here. So I need to copy this address. So if I just highlight and then use the right click on my mouse and say copy. Now I'll go back to Portaportal. I'll come to this URL and I'll paste. Now when I paste, I want to be careful not to get this http:// twice. So when I paste, for example, it might look like I've done it right, but notice that I've got that in there twice, and I really don't want that. So I'm going to delete the first http://. Whether you give it a description or not is your choice, and whether you give it an icon or not is your choice. Maybe we'll come back and add one of those later. Okay, so that's the first of my links that I want to add. Let me stop there and add links and see how it works. And sure enough, I now have a link on my Portaportal to the Rockingham County Schools math curriculum. And I can check that link out by just clicking, and it should take me there. And sure enough, it does. Let's go back to Portaportal. Let's add a couple more links. I'm going to add them in the General Resources category. So I click plus. This time, I want to add a link that's the National Library of Virtual Manipulatives. Many math teachers know this is probably the #1 site to use in teaching math. So I'm going to find that site. It's right here. I'm going to use my right click to copy this address. I'll go back to Portaportal. This time I'm going to highlight that before I paste. When I do, it'll replace that extra HTTP. So let's try that again. Let's just delete it. And now let's right click and paste. And now, sure enough, that's the site I want. Let's add another one, though. Another site that I want to put on my Portaportal is the Khan Academy. It's a great site that's got thousands of YouTube videos on how to do math. And here it is. Khan Academy. This is an unbelievable site. It has so many YouTube videos for every level of math and other subjects too. So we're going to copy this URL. We're going to come back to Portaportal. We're going to highlight and delete. And we're going to paste. Okay, let's add another one. This one is going to be the Virginia Department of Education SOL site. And that site I've got up here, it's got a bunch of practice items on it for the SOL test. So that would be handy. Let's copy. Let's go back to Portaportal. Delete that and paste. And now let's add our links. And you'll see now I've got 4 general resources that I could use in my math class. I also want to add some calculators. So let's click on the plus to add a calculator. It wants a title. This one's just going to be called Simple Calculator. I have that website already found. It's right here. It's just a simple calculator we could use for teaching math. So we'll use the right click or Control C, either one. I'll use Control C this time. We'll come back in here. We'll delete that. Control V for paste. And so now I've got a simple calculator. I also have a scientific calculator. And it's found right here, I believe. Here's the address, so I'll use Control C, Control V. I have a graphing calculator. So I'll go to my graphing calculator site. I'll copy this, come back to Portaportal and paste it. And I have an interesting calculator called a factor calculator. Now I'm going to do, I'm making typing mistakes here. Let's leave those mistakes in for the time being because I do want you to see how to edit. So here's my factor calculator. I'm going to copy and paste, and I'll add those links. When I do, I can check and make sure they work. For example, let's go to the graphing calculator. Let's see if it works. Let's put a y equals to 2x in there, and graph. Looks good. So the graphing calculator seems to work just fine. Let's go back to my Portaportal, and I notice I've misspelled the factor and calculator both. Well, as you might suspect, the pencil is going to enable us to edit those links. So let's click on the pencil, and it will let me come in here and fix my typing mistake. This would also be where you would fix any mistake you made with the address. I'm going to save my changes, and now it looks a little bit better. The factor calculator, incidentally, enables you to enter any number, and it simply calculates the factors of that number for you. So that's an interesting calculator. Let's go back to our Portal site now. Now we're just about done. I could certainly add more categories. I could add more links, but I think you see I very quickly have been able to add 8 links, which I could get to from my classroom. I could have my students go to the computer lab and come here. But to do so, I need to make sure that guest access is allowed. So I'm going to go here to what's called preferences, and I want to make sure that guest access, oh, sure enough, it's not. Well, I do want guest access to be allowed. Notice it says that in order to access this site, that we're going to have our students come to a site that's guest.portaportal.com/Bridgewater Hill. Remember, Bridgewater Hill was the login that I created for this site. So I'm going to change my user preferences to allow guest access. And let's log out at this point. There are other options up here we could look at, of course, to add categories, to alphabetize them, to upload files, to even a tutorial, or you could delete an entire category if you want. You could do this. You're going to see that students can't when they come in as a guest. So I'm going to log out, which is right here. And what we could do for our students to come back is just simply have them come to portaportal.com and type in Bridgewater Hill, and then they would visit the site, and here we go. Notice that all the options here are no longer there for them to make changes. They can't make changes to my site, but they can get to all these good links now. You might also notice that the link up here at the top is one that I could copy. And now I could insert that in an email. I could send this to whoever's in charge of my school website and say, please add a link on the school website to my Portaportal, which would be this link, this guest access link. I could create my own website and make a link from my website to my Portaportal, again, using this URL, which is guest.portaportal.com/mylogin. Okay, with that, I think you've had a good example of how to create a Portaportal on your own. I hope you have the opportunity to create your own Portaportal. It will last for many, many years, and hopefully you and your students will get good use of it.